In this video, I will be demonstrating a program that will accept two numbers and display its sum, difference, product, and quotient. Let us save our file as Arithmetic operations.c. Then click Save. I'll be using a multi-line comment wherein I will type here a program that will accept two input numbers from the user and display the sum, difference, product, quotient, and also the remainder. We will start our program with the preprocessor include with the library header stdio.h, since we will be using the scanf and the printf. For every C program, you will always have your main function. Inside the block of the main function, we will be declaring variables for the two inputs. We have n1 and n2. Next is we will be displaying on screen what we want the user to enter. Then we will accept the data using the scanf function. The format specifier is %d and we will save it in the address n1. There. So we do it again for the second number and save it with a format specifier of d. Save it in variable n2. So we have here variable declaration, and here we are accepting the value for n1 and another value or data to be stored in n2. We could test every time we finish a piece of code. There. You could also do this in a way that the user will enter both numbers at the same time. So for example, enter two numbers. Let's make this a comment first. And instead of scanf %d, we will be doing it twice. We will have two format specifiers, and of course, we will have two variables. There. So we entered two numbers and it's already saved in n1 and n2, though only one displaying of this message. But of course, I prefer the first one, so I will remove the comment since it's much better if you specify, because the user might not know how to enter these two numbers. Will it be to separate them with a space bar or separate them with an enter key? So I'd rather have them separated this way. Enter first number, store it to n1, enter second number, then store it to n2. This part is for getting the two input numbers from the user, specifically integer. The next part is the process of adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Let us start first with the sum. So we will have a variable called sum, therefore we have to declare it. What value will we be assigning to sum? So we have, by adding the two input numbers, that will be our sum. While for the difference, we have n1 minus n2. So again, another variable is used, therefore we have to declare. Also one for quotient. Also one for product. n1 times n2. And then we also have the quotient. n1 divided by n2. For the remainder, we have n1 mod n2. So this is for the process, the use of arithmetic operators. After the input, after doing the process, now we could display the output. Display the output. If you will notice, for the input, we are using the scanf function. Even without this part, enter first number, and enter second number, we could still accept the data using the scanf. But the use of this is to simply let the user know what to type in. But for display, instead of scanf, we are going to use the printf. We could say new line, we use the escape sequence new line for sum, then %d. The value that we will put here in this area, in the format specifier, will come from the variable sum. And same is true with the difference. And the rest of the arithmetic operations. Take note that we are using a lowercase d for the format specifier since we are dealing with integers. There, so let us try. We have, for example, 8 and 4. So the sum is 12, the difference correct for product 32, quotient is 2, and there is no remainder. We have 0. We could also align this part for the colon. We could make use of the horizontal tab and try to check if it's aligned. 10 and 5. So we have to remove the one in remainder and quotient. Oh, we could add another tab for sum, difference, and product. Sum, difference, and product. Then colon 15 and 4. There, so they are aligned. Let us try changing this kind of solution to our problem. So this is one of the ways we could solve the problem, but we could eliminate some parts. Like for this one, we could eliminate this. I'll cut it and make it as a comment for a while because we might be using it later on. So we have N1 and N2 only, and for the process, I will also be commenting on this part. And then instead of doing it this way, we could say N1 plus N2. We have N1 minus N2 directly to the display of your output. We have N1, instead of putting it in a different statements here, arithmetic statements, expressions here, we could do it in this part. N1 times N2 divided by N2. Then N1 mod N2. There. So we will still have the same output. There. There is one single problem, but there are many possible solutions based on how you would like it to be written, based on how you would like to write your code. So this is for two entered integers and displaying the sum, difference, product. But for the quotient, there will be answers with decimal places. So if your values are of type integer, you cannot display the decimal places. So what we could do is I'll try to copy this to a new file. Let us save it as quotient.c. There. So I will be removing the sum, difference, and remainder because we will not need the remainder if we will display the actual value in the quotient part, wherein we will show the decimal place. So instead of integer, if you are going to deal with numbers with decimal places, we declare our variable with the data type of float. And then instead of %d, we do %f for float. Then here we have %f. Let us test the output. There we have first number is 5, First number is 5, second number is 2. So we have the quotient 2.500000. Let us try to limit this up to 2 decimal places. What we could do in the display part, we put in our format specifier 0.2, meaning 2 decimal places. Let us check. 10 and 3. There, 3.33. That ends the program that accepts 2 input numbers and display the sum, difference, product, quotient, and remainder. If you have any questions with this program, please do not hesitate to write it on the comment box below. Thank you.